So, good evening, everyone. I welcome you back to my YouTube channel, presenting before you this wonderful tutorial. Is the mental Hamper Kliman. So, I come yet with another tutorial, and this is going to help you how to balance up your time and also how to organize your study schedules under the School of Natural Sciences. I know, especially during this period, that you've got quite a lot of things to study and it's so overwhelming, and most of you don't really understand how to go about it. How do you balance up your time? How do you balance up the schedules so that you are able to manage both quizzes and tests? Why is it that majority of the people are up to date with what the lecturer is teaching, but they are not really up to date with what they've been studying? Okay, so this is a person who is up to date with possibly a topic that the lecturer is teaching, but if you ask them of certain previous topic questions, they tend to fail. So that is what we call a study, a bad. This is what we call a bad study habit. A bad study habit is something that is moved by desperation and guilty. The reason as to why most of the students would want to be up to date with the lecturer without even understanding any of the topics that they've been studying either in the past or previous topics is because of these two: desperation and guilty. Because you are so desperate to be up to date, you find yourself reading instead of understanding. Now, there is a difference between the two. Reading is just paraphrasing. When you're reading, you are just paraphrasing what is in the lecture notes. You're just paraphrasing what is in the lecture notes. But when you are studying, you understand what is in the lecture slide. Now, the problem is 80% of the people, 80% of students read. When you read, you move at a fast pace. And the more you move at a fast pace, the more you forget. The more you forget, when the lecturer or when they give you tests that contain questions from previous topics, what do? You forget. Okay? When you forget, then you fail. You get a 0% or a 5% or whichever, you fail. This is a very bad habit for most students. Most students are motivated by desperation and guilty because you don't want to feel guilty that your lecturer is ahead of you, so you want to be reading instead of understanding. 20% of students study. And when they study, because they want to understand what they are being taught, they are usually left behind. Does it mean they don't feel the guilty? They do. Does it mean that they don't feel the desperation to rush? They do. But they are interested in understanding. Because when you understand, you grasp the concept. And when you get the concept, you solve everything. Most of the students that are studying, when you ask them questions, they are able to recall. Not only do they recall, these guys are able to teach what they study. If you teach what you are able to study, you become a powerful student. You become a powerful student. And this is the best way of you studying. This is the best way of you revising. But if you just want to be moving at a faster pace for the sake of being up to date with your lecturer, then you become an updated failure. But if you understand what you are studying and you move at your own pace, then definitely you become a powerful left behind student. Now, why is it that most students would want to be up to date with the lecturer? Where is the fear? Where exactly is the concern? Well, it's because most students are interested in quizzes. Does it mean you should not be interested in quizzes? No, you should be interested in quizzes. Because in a quiz, you might get a 2.5%, let's say for a quiz 1, then another 2.5% for a quiz 2. So together, they make a 5.0%. Which, if it is added to your CA, and let's say your CA was a 20, possibly if you add the quizzes together, that might push you to a 25, and you would only need a 25% from the exam, making your passing easy. But where is the problem? The problem is with the tests, because your tests are going to contain previous topics. So you discover that 70% of what is going to come in the test are previous topics. Now, you are a student that didn't understand your sets. You didn't understand your vectors. you didn't understand your dimensional analysis, but you're up to date. What if they brought your previous topics? Are you going to pass your tests? No. This is the main reason as to why most NA students get low CAs, because they fail the tests. After failing the test, which contributes about 10% to your CA, after failing your tests, then they tend to have a low CA, and because the exam becomes very hard, they end up getting a D. So how do you balance? How then do you go about it? How do you balance between studying for your tests and your quizzes? Since your tests is scheduled, and your quizzes can pop at any time, this is what you're going to do. The first point is study at your own pace. Study at your own pace. Leave time for your understanding. Give yourself more time for your understanding. So your target is understanding. Give yourself more time for your understanding. Not only that, give yourself more time for meditation. Think what you are studying. Go deep into thinking exactly what addition are you going to add to your study schedule? What addition are you going to add to what you have studied? Okay? Study at your own pace. But then how do you go about the quizzes? This is what you do. Every time you are from attending a lecture, ensure that you study and finish the lecture slide. Don't leave the lecture slide hanging. Because if you leave it hanging, you are going to have packed work. And when your work becomes packed, you will be under pressure. So for every lecture that you have, make sure that you go through the slide tomorrow. Well, this is wrong. You are supposed to go through the slide the same day. Where do you get the time to go through the slide the same day? Remember that classes are not back to back. There is a time schedule between your next class and your other class. You have maybe a 30 minutes, a 1 hour, the break. Get your slide and revise. Why? Because at that particular moment, your brain is fresh. Your energy is high. And your desire to know is also high. So, get your slide, go through your slide, and ensure that you finish it the same day. When you finish the slides the same day, this is going to give you an opportunity to prepare for quizzes. Meanwhile, you go through the slides the same day by giving yourself enough time. You are supposed to go back to your study schedule. You are not supposed to stop studying your previous topics. Okay? Don't stop studying your previous topics because you are behind. There is a difference between guilty and fear. What majority of you have is fear. This guiltiness is because of certain things that are running in your head. Because it's because of a certain conviction. The guiltiness is as a result of a conviction you have given yourself. So majority of the students are problems to themselves. What does it mean to be left behind? To be left behind in terms of studying does not mean, it doesn't mean being behind the lecturer. It doesn't mean like, that's not what it means. Being left behind in your study schedule does not mean you are behind what the lecturer is teaching. It actually means to be ahead, yet you understand nothing about the topic. Provided you don't understand the previous topics you studied, you are behind. Regardless of where you are behind. But if you are behind the lecturer, but you understand the topics properly and you are able to explain or you are able to answer questions in your tutorial sheets or questions that your friend is going to give you, you are up to date. Okay? And your performance in school is going to be the best. So, in order for you to balance up your quizzes, each day you are given a lecture slide. Finish the lecture slide the same day. Go through the lecture slide the same day. If it's having 50 slides, 70 slides, go through them. Study them, understand them. Then go back to your normal study schedule. That way, it's going to become easy for you to go to study to pass your quizzes, and at the same time to pass your tests. Remember, when you fail a test, your comeback is very hard. But if you get something from the quizzes and pass your test, you have got a very strong comeback. Please, make sure that you take note of what we have discussed in this video. Don't you go ahead because of guilty and desperation. It is better to be behind and ensure you are up to date each day by going through the lecture slides and get back to your study schedule than being ahead or being up to date and yet you understand nothing. If you found this video interesting and helpful, consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and don't forget to share to others. Thank you so much.